Have you ever felt like you're just in a constant battle with yourself? You make a promise. You're going to wake up early. You're going to hit the gym. You're going to finally finish that big project, and then it just doesn't happen. It is so frustrating. And it's really easy to just blame yourself, right? To say, I lack discipline. But what if I told you the real reason isn't some flaw in your character, but actually a feature of your biology? Okay, let's get into this.
This one idea, right here, is the key to everything we're about to talk about. This isn't about gritting your teeth and finding more willpower or just trying harder. Nope. This is about understanding the biological machine you are operating every single day, your brain.
And to really get that understanding, we have to start by tearing down the biggest myth of all, the one that's probably been holding you back for years. This slide just perfectly captures the whole problem. See, we wait to feel motivated, but motivation, it's just an emotion. It comes and it goes just like the weather. Discipline, on the other hand, the ability to act no matter how you feel, that's rooted in the physical and chemical stuff happening inside your brain. It's biological.
So, if discipline is biological, where do we start? Well, we've got to go back to the beginning, to our brain's most basic, most ancient programming, its built-in survival mode.
Just think about it from an evolutionary perspective, right? For thousands and thousands of years, conserving energy was literally the difference between life and death. Your brain isn't lazy. It's just incredibly efficient. It's designed to avoid any unnecessary effort, to avoid potential pain, so it can save those precious calories for when you really need them, like, running from a saber-toothed tiger. And this slide, this puts a name to that feeling we all know so well. That magnetic pull towards the couch when you know you should be on the treadmill. That's not a moral failing. That's resistance. It's a totally neutral biological process. And the second you can name it and you can understand it, you can start to let go of all that guilt and all that self-blame.
Okay, so let's add another layer to this. We've got our ancient brain, which is already programmed for comfort. But what happens when we introduce a super powerful, very modern chemical into the mix? Let's talk about dopamine.
Now, this is a super important distinction that most people get wrong. We think of dopamine as the pleasure chemical itself, but it's really more about the pursuit of pleasure. It's the engine that creates the wanting. It's the chemical that drives you to get up and go get the thing.
The problem is, our modern world is like a minefield of what we call cheap dopamine. All these activities give you a massive, instant hit of that anticipation and reward feeling with almost zero effort. Your brain gets an easy, fast, powerful reward signal, and oh man, it loves it. So here it is. This is the conflict playing out inside your brain every single day. On one side, you've got an instant, guaranteed dopamine hit from scrolling your phone. On the other side, a delayed, uncertain reward from going to the gym, a reward that takes a lot of effort. From a purely chemical standpoint, which one do you think your brain is going to push you towards? Yeah, it's not a fair fight.
And just like any other addiction, your brain starts to crave that easy hit more and more. It actually lowers your baseline level of motivation, which makes the effort needed for those delayed rewards feel even harder. Pretty soon, the cheap stuff is the only thing that seems satisfying. You're not weak. Your brain's entire reward system has been hijacked.
Okay, so that might all sound a little bleak. I get it. But here's the amazing news. Because this is a trained state, it means it can be retrained. You absolutely have the power to rewire your own brain. This is all thanks to the incredible principle of neuroplasticity. The best way to think about it is like creating a path in fresh snow. The very first time is hard, right? It's a real slog. But every single time you walk that same path, it gets a little easier, a little more defined. Your habits, both the good and the bad, are literally carving physical pathways into your brain, making certain behaviors feel automatic.
So how do we carve a new path for discipline? Well, it's a surprisingly simple three-step process. First, you have to reduce those easy, cheap dopamine paths by removing as many distractions as you can. Second, and this is so important, don't try to build a superhighway overnight. You have to start incredibly small. And third, the most important part of all, repeat the action, no matter how tiny it is, to strengthen that new neural pathway.
And when we say small, we mean ridiculously, almost laughably small. Forget running a marathon, just put on your running shoes and stand outside for 1 minute. Don't try to write a novel, just write one single sentence. And, notice that last one on the list too. Strategically creating small periods of boredom is actually a powerful way to reset your dopamine system. It makes healthier activities start to feel rewarding again. Here's the key point. Each of these small victories is like a vote for your new disciplined self. Every single repetition strengthens that neural pathway, and that biological resistance your brain naturally creates, it starts to fade. You are literally making discipline easier on a physical, biological level. All right, now that we have the actions down, let's talk about the final piece of the puzzle. This is the one that makes the change permanent. It's the story you tell yourself about who you are.
You know, your brain is always listening to your internal monologue, always. If you constantly tell yourself, I'm not a disciplined person, your brain will work tirelessly to prove that identity is correct. But the moment you shift your language to, I am becoming disciplined, you give your brain a whole new target to aim for. You create an identity that supports your new actions, not one that sabotages them.
So let's just bring it all together. This whole struggle, it isn't about some fundamental flaw in your character. It's about a mismatch between your ancient brain wiring and our modern dopamine-saturated world. And the moment you see it not as a discipline problem but as a biological one, you realize it's a solvable one. And this right here, this is maybe the most empowering takeaway of all. You are not born disciplined or undisciplined. It is not a fixed personality trait. It is a skill, just like learning an instrument or a new language. And like any skill, it can be developed with intentional, consistent practice, starting today.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this thought. Every single choice you make, every small action or inaction is a training session for your brain. You are the trainer. The only question left is, what are you training it for?